Alright, hello, this is video blog 3. We're going to be talking about our third week of teaching at Ben Franklin. This was the advertising week, and it went really, really well. One of the major things that I think it went well was because all the kids already kind of had a good understanding of what was going on as far as advertising. I mean, because it's something you see every day, and they knew advertising was prevalent in their life. I don't know that they ever analyzed it to this extent. I doubt it. But it was good. We sort of already had a basis. They already understood, what was going on just because they see it all the time. And we sort of used this to our advantage in that we kind of could skim over the basics and we could get more into, things we talked about like ad techniques, the ways in which ads are made so that it's more effective for consumers. And things like that. So we could really go into a lot more detail this week because we could avoid talking about, we didn't have to define a lot of things. So we could get over, skim over sort of the surface and get into the deeper sort of layers of advertising. Something they talked about in the reading, this was both in, the articles from this week and in the book No Logo. I remember it from, they were talking about Quaker Oats is, sort of the first sort of product with a logo and a name and a brand. So when these started coming out, people started, saying loyal to the brand and everything. But as the first brand, in the reading from the book, they were talking about as these Quaker ads started to appear in magazines, people sort of acquired this new kind of literacy where they knew that product, they knew, and they associated with what they were buying, not just with the food itself, but with the product name. So I think what was, as far as applying it to these kids, they already had this kind of literacy. Obviously, anybody living in today's world already has this kind of literacy, but we sort of take it for granted because, all this advertising and consumerism is sort of a newer, more recent, I guess, phenomena. But like I said, we had a really good jumping off point because they already had this kind of literacy when it comes to advertising. When we went into techniques, which was a bulk of our day, they were really, really good at looking at their ads and picking out what techniques. We went over the techniques and then they applied what we were talking about to their own advertisements that we, not the ones they made, the ones that we tore out of magazines. And they were really, really good at taking their ad and saying, this is what they did, this is the technique they used. They didn't just use this one, but they used multiple ones, and they were strangely good at it, and everyone was talkative. And I really noticed in this part they asked more questions than answered questions. They were really interested in this part. Hands were going up left and right. Everybody wanted to share. If they didn't understand something, they asked. So I don't know if that was the stuff we were talking about, the actual content, or maybe they're just getting more comfortable with us. Probably a combination of both. I think one of the reasons they were so engaged, I guess, on this day versus others, there's a quote in the reading that I liked. It said, in order for pedagogy to be effective, it must derive its goals from the experiences and concerns of learners. So I think that advertising, since they see it all the time, and they were really interested to make their own ads, and they were really interested in products in general. They were always talking about, I want to buy this, I want to wear this, I want to use this. So I think that they already had interest in the product that allowed them to be more engaged in it because they were actually concerned about what they were learning and they could relate to what they were learning. Besides that, our main point of the lesson, one of 3 or 4, was the purpose of an ad is to buy, and I think we put that on several different slides, so they knew that, but they already knew that. So, but just to hit our, nail our point home, and the idea of consumerism, we tried to portray also that consumerism is more of a lifestyle also, and a lot of these ads play into that by advertising not just a product but a lifestyle, and that they talked about that in the reading also. How advertisers become promoters of not only just products, but of lifestyles. I remember one specific example is one of the girls in the class had, from magazine articles that we tore out that they looked at, hers was the celebrity endorser was Jennifer Hudson, and it was for Weight Watchers because she lost all this weight. And this student was really good to pick out that they weren't just advertising Weight Watchers, but they were advertising, a healthy lifestyle and, being active and being fit. So there were obviously a couple of other examples that showed this lifestyle approach, but this Weight Watchers one most certainly was the best example. And we had a long discussion on just this girl's ad because it was so straightforward in the whole lifestyle advertisement, I guess, idea. So, but they picked that out without us even saying anything. So they're definitely picking up on a lot of things. Another interesting point in the book that I liked was that this idea of advertisers playing a mediating role between communities and their social environments, so that they're not just advertisers; they become sort of these mediating forces that, in our brains we connect what is sort of right and wrong, good and bad, what to buy, what not to buy, what to wear, what not to wear, and we learn these things through advertisement, and that's how we connect to the rest of society. So these ads we were looking at, like these lifestyle ads, going back to the Jennifer Hudson Weight Watchers example, we learn these certain, it's bad to, we know medically it's bad to be overweight, but in a sort of society perspective, it's not great to be overweight. It's better to be fit, better to be healthy, and we picked all of that out in that Jennifer Hudson ad, just as a lifestyle approach. So I think this week they did a really good job of connecting what wouldn't normally be the most interesting parts of the class, which normally they kind of doze off on, but the technique parts they really did a good job of bringing back to that once they made their own ads. And it wasn't just all fun and games during making the ads, but they were really connecting this to that and one thing to the other. It was really like a really good lesson as far as being the connectivity between one to the other, and then from the end to the beginning, everything was connected. So it went really, really well, and hopefully we can do this in the next couple of weeks. So we'll see you then. Bye.